Oh, I didn't know you were starting now. All right, you were taking your time. Sorry.
Okay, you ready?
Yeah, hold on.
Hey, man.
What's up, boo?
Hey. Got a question for you.
Start over.
Oh, okay. Hey, man. You busy chewing or something? Like, oh, you ready? Can I ask
I
you?
was praying.
Oh, can I ask you a question?
I
now?
pray over every episode. Before we start. Before you say hey man to me, I say hey man to God, you know? Things I learned last night. TILLN it.
Okay, good, perfect, glad.
Okay, go ahead.
Hey,
Yeah,
man.
what's up?
Hey, man. Hey, man.
What's going on? What's the scuttlebutt?
What?
You know, as they say, as the kids say,
No.
what's lit, bro?
Okay.
Yeet.
Hey, man. Hey, man.
What's up, man?
Have you ever heard of...
I don't know, man.
I'm not even done yet. Haven't asked a question yet.
Sorry, I forgot my line.
Okay, ready?
Mm-hmm.
Hey, man.
Mm-hmm.
Have you ever heard of DB Cooper?
DB Cooper, that's a wrestler, right?
No. It does kind of sound like one, but it's not.
Yeah, Monday Night Raw with DB Cooper. That's what it sounds like.
You do that voice well.
Yeah, I am the voice of WWE. Formerly WWF.
Formerly.
But also the current WWF, which is like world. It's like an animal.
World
it's an
Wildlife
animal.
Foundation.
Wildlife Foundation, that's right. Yep.
They
DB
like
Cooper
pandas.
is the president of both. He's the WWE and the WWF.
Yeah, you got it.
He's like, you know what? I care about two things in this world. I care about animals and cage fights. I care about animals and cage fights. Not together. Not animal cage fights.
No.
Animals
okay.
and cage fights. Do not mix them, Michael Vick.
When animals cage fight, it's awful. But when humans cage fight, it's great.
Right.
Great. Have you ever seen the actual owner of the WWE walk into a room?
Was it McMahon?
Yeah.
Yeah, and he walks like, ho.
I just picture him walking through a zoo, like just so pumped. Just like, I run this. This zoo is mine.
DB Cooper, where you at? Yeah, he's scary.
Yeah, not who I'm talking about.
Cool.
Not
cool.
Not even close. DB Cooper is the alias of an unidentified man who is the suspect in the only unsolved case of air piracy in aviation history.
Of what piracy?
Air piracy. So like when if you were to jump on Napster, you can pirate music, right?
True.
You can jump on Napster. They had a tab for oxygen, and you could pirate air, and you could put air on a USB, and you could breathe it.
I was with you. Until you said air on USB. I was like, they had a tab for oxygen? I was like, what? Well, I was just lost on where DB Cooper fit into this. So DB Cooper is not as DB Cooper is the name that we gave this person.
Yes. Well, sort of.
We'll find out.
Yeah.
What does DB stand for?
Database.
Desmond Bryant?
Nobody knows. Because, well, see, you're asking questions. Let me tell you the story.
Okay.
It's on the afternoon of Wednesday, November 24th, 1971, Thanksgiving Eve.
So, 1971.
Yes.
To be clear,
Yes.
17 years after 1954.
Correct.
Okay.
Correct.
So on the evening of November what?
November 24th.
On the evening of November 24th, 17 years after 1954. You do the math.
A man purchases an airline ticket under the alias Dan Cooper.
Okay.
So that's where.
So when I said, what does DB Cooper stand for? You could have gone, well, Dan is the D. Yeah. But you went, database? I don't know. Burger? I don't know, man. Let me just tell you the story. Do you know?
Well, here's the thing. Dan Cooper was the name that he gave. DB kind of came out of nowhere. No one really knows who gave him the name DB, but it just sounds a lot cooler than Dan. And so that's stuck.
True.
That's stuck. Nobody ever in the actual
No one wants to get ripped off by Dan.
Yeah.
You know?
Everyone's like,
someone's like,
sure
someone stole something from us?
DB. It's DB, not Dan.
Yeah.
But no, yeah, so this guy on November 24th, 1971, walks in to Portland International Airport, identifies himself as Dan Cooper, purchases for $20. I just want to acknowledge the fact that he bought a flight for $20. It was a quick flight from Portland to Seattle, but still, $20 blows my mind. $20 cash, a 30-minute trip from Portland to Seattle. He was wearing a lightweight black raincoat, loafers, a dark suit, neatly pressed, a collared white shirt, a black clip-on tie.
Clip-on. I love that that's like... That's a Dan move.
This is my favorite part about Dan is that clip-on tie and sunglasses. Described as being like in his mid-40s. Walks in, purchases this ticket.
$20 cash.
$20 cash.
What was the last thing you bought for $20 cash?
Oh, snap. Man, I'd be hard-pressed to tell you what the last thing I bought for cash was. With cash.
Hard-pressed?
Hard-pressed.
Okay.
Hard-pressed! Sorry, that was a... I don't know a song that does that, actually. It just sounds like a punk rock thing. Like it's a and then it stops, and then...
No, do it again. No, do it again.
Hard press! See, it plays.
Yeah.
You can see it.
Yeah. For that metal band that keeps listening to our podcast and keeps stealing our riffs, keeps pirating our riffs.
Keeps air pirating.
Air pirating.
That's what it is when you
We're an air
steal
band.
from an air band, it's air pirating.
DB Cooper. Dosh Barn.
Dosh Barn.
Yeah. I thought it was very funny.
Oh my gosh. So
Trying to think of other things his name could be. Oh,
Dosh Barn.
Yeah. Dan bought this flight for $20, Cooper.
So, homeboy gets on this Boeing 727, walks in, takes a seat in...
Sorry. I don't know. Every time I've never flown Southwest Airlines and been like, yeah, I'm about to go hop on a Boeing 737. Like, I could have said plane.
Fair. So he gets on the aircraft.
Okay.
Sits in seat 18C, and like the...
Why do we know this much about him? Is that just when his ticket was issued?
Yeah.
18C?
Well, we've got a lot of information about him.
We don't know who he is?
No. So he sits down in 18C.
Okay, I'm a little excited.
Like the pure freaking animal this guy is, this clip-on tie and sunglasses.
Yeah.
Lights himself a cigarette, orders a bourbon and soda, and kicks back for the flight, right?
We know this much about him.
Yeah. So he's sitting there smoking a cigarette, drinking his bourbon and soda. And about
Dan Bourbon Cooper.
Oh, there you go.
That's
you got it. And so about halfway through the flight, he's sitting there. What? That wasn't.
The undertone in your voice I didn't like. Oh, you got it. So he sits in his flight. Yeah, whatever.
It wasn't.
You're into your story.
Derogatory. Okay.
You're just excited.
About halfway through the flight. He's sitting there drinking his scotch.
Halfway through this flight.
Or his bourbon, smoking a cigarette, and he leans over to the hostess, and he hands her a note, a handwritten note, a folded up handwritten note. She smiles. She says, "Thank you." Slips it into her purse, and he.
What does she think it is? His number?
Yeah, that's kind of what it seems like. She's just I don't know. Maybe that happens a lot to hostesses. Maybe.
Well, flight attendants used to be like the hot girls. That used to be like
you say used to. That's offensive to all flight attendants.
Stop.
Everywhere.
Okay, no, but I'm saying like the way that it used to be like
it used to be like pretty like they would.
Yeah, like it was a pretty girls became flight attendants.
Yeah.
The way that like I don't know. I don't want to use the word fetish, but like that kind of like a fantasy kind of thing of like flight attendants are attractive.
Yeah, that's what the like corporations would do. They would look for attractive women to be flight attendants.
Yes.
Is that what you're saying? Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think you're right.
And now those they've just been flight attendants for a long time. Is what I'm saying. Like, it's the same girls from the 60s. And they're very nice. Now they're just nice old ladies who are like they hand the cookies on the flight. It's not offensive. They're not they're very nice.
They're very nice.
They're
but you're
beautiful.
not giving them your number.
They're beautiful. I'm not giving them my number. I'm in a relationship.
Okay.
Let's get out of this conversation. There's no way for me to win.
He passes her this note.
Yes.
And she just slides it in her purse, which he didn't want her to do. He wanted her to
read
it.
Read the note.
So
he gave her another one.
This is my favorite. Okay, so he slides her the note. She doesn't read it, and then he stops her and he's like, Miss, you better take a look at that note. I have a bomb.
What?
I just love
Dan Bomb Cooper.
I love how discreet he was.
He was like, "Hey, I wrote that. Is that what the note says?" She opens it and it goes, "I have a bomb," and she's like, "Well, I mean, you just told me that. Like we, you know."
I love how he was like trying to be discreet, and when it doesn't work, he's like, "Hey."
He's like, "Mom, you're gonna want to open that note." And she's like, "What?" And she opens it. You have a son. And she's like, "What? Like what?" We could have just skipped that.
Yeah, you didn't.
You called me mom.
You didn't need the no.
How did I not know as a woman that I gave birth to a son? This whole thing is just getting weirder and weirder. So
yeah, son, your mom doesn't know about you. She doesn't know that we had you. You're gonna have to track her down.
I am
She's
blindsided. I have 15 kids.
Oh my gosh.
A woman always knows.
Oh my goodness. Yeah, and so she sits down next to him.
Yeah.
And he's like, okay, and very calm, very calm.
She sits down next to him.
She sits down next to him, and he opens up his briefcase.
The obvious response.
Yeah, he opens up his briefcase to show her his bomb, which was like 4 red sticks with wires all over it inside of this briefcase.
Like cartoon bomb.
Like, legitimately.
He opened it up, and he was like, she's like, "What's your name?" He's like, "Well, my real name is Wile E. Coyote, but you can call me Dan." Like 4 dynamite sticks and some string. It's not even. It's like paper towel.
Yarn.
It's paper towel cardboard things painted red and some yarn. And he's like, "You're gonna want to sit down.
You're gonna want to sit down.
I have a bomb.
I have a bomb, but read the note so we can be discreet."
She opens the note and goes, "It's real." It's like, okay. Written in crayon with his left hand because he's trying not to get the police on his scent with his right hand.
It's clever. That's a clever move.
Okay, I guess I need to know what air piracy is. Are we going to get to that?
Yeah, that's being a pirate in the sky.
Shut up. Gosh.
No, it really is.
She opened the note and it just said, "Arg." Like what? Show me the treasure. Show me
So after closing the briefcase, he like showed her the bomb, and then he stated his demands, which was $200,000 in $20 bills.
And she's like, "Sir, I'm a flight attendant." Like, I don't have that. I can give you a complimentary soda. It's still the 70s, so you're allowed to smoke on this point. Would you like another cigarette?
Yeah, I could get you. But yeah, $200,000. That was a pretty big ransom. That was $1.2 million. Like,
yeah. That's enough for 10,000 flights.
Transfer. Yeah.
At that I mean, yeah, only from Portland to Seattle.
Exactly.
No round trips. You got to fly 10,000 times to Seattle.
Yep.
Hike your way back.
Yep.
That's probably what we wanted to do.
And so basically what it was, he's like, we're going to land. You're going to have them bring $200,000 in $20 bills to me, along with 4 parachutes, 2 primary and 2 reserve parachutes, a fuel truck standing by to refuel the aircraft upon arrival. And then the pilots will stay with me, and then everybody else can get off the ship.
Got it. Yeah. So you're
Everybody
really
else can
buying
get
into
off the
this.
airship.
Yeah. Got it. He's like, everyone else can walk the plank.
Yeah. And so
this guy's plan is for them to land the plane, deplane everybody, give him the money and some parachutes, fly up, and then he's gonna obviously. How many parachutes?
4 parachutes, 2 primary and 2 reserve chutes. 100,000.
No, stop. Okay, so 2 functioning parachutes, 2 reserve. How many people are jumping out of the plane?
I don't know.
Just him.
It seems like his plan was just him.
Okay.
But he wanted some backups, I guess.
He's like, I'm going to take another one with me.
He's like, I need some options here.
One on the front, one on the back. Let's see. Opens the parachute.
I'll sit on one.
What
I'll
happens?
hold the other one over my head.
Yeah.
Just to be safe. Homeboy's like, I've never done this before. I need as many options as I can get. No, so he tells the flight attendant. Flight attendant goes to the pilot to tell the pilot all of his demands.
Yeah, because at that time the door wasn't like super locked.
Super locked.
Yeah, it was just.
Yeah, you could just walk in there and be like, "Hey, I'm just curious what you're doing up here," and you could just hang out in the cockpit for a little bit.
At that time,
like
they didn't even have doors.
What doors weren't invented yet?
Yeah, no. The pilots would be up at the front with that big wooden wheel. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, and they'd be like, "Shift the
wheel.
Things." Full speed ahead, or whatever. I don't know.
Shift
boat captains say. What are those things called? My mind is just
batten down the hatches.
Yeah. I was trying to think of pirate speak, but I couldn't think of any boat terms. So
send them to the hole. That's
I don't know. It's been I wasn't allowed to watch Pirates of the Caribbean. I was the only pirates I know of are the ones who don't do anything. You know what I'm saying?
No, okay. So
they're up there.
The psychology of Dan is one of my favorite things in the world right now, because I described earlier that he was wearing sunglasses. That was a slight mistake. He wasn't wearing them yet. He had them in his briefcase. And so the flight attendant tells the captain, she comes back, and now he's wearing his sunglasses with his half-drank bourbon and a cigarette.
Now he's wearing sunglasses.
He's like, the heist is on.
Did he say that?
Yeah, probably. I mean, he was there alone, but he probably was like, the heist is on.
The heist is on. You know, no one's sitting next to him.
Yeah, I guess not. I don't know. They never.
He might have looked at the person next to him.
The heist is on.
Yeah. Do you think they saw the bomb?
They're probably like, I'm a little.
Someone in one row back.
I was watching this whole conversation.
Well, yeah, one row back was like, I saw the note. Don't mean to eavesdrop,
but is she getting the money?
I heard you're getting 2 parachutes. I just don't know,
and that's
know who you're choosing.
We could split this in half.
Yeah.
You know. No, so they actually like.
He leans forward and is like, ahoy. Wait. If I may.
I couldn't help it over here.
Yes.
You're going to have some extra parachutes.
I heard.
And a lot of money.
I heard you're going to have a lot of money, matey.
Maybe. Yeah, so what they did is the FBI was contacted. The president of Northwest Airlines was contacted, and the president of the airline was like, "Yeah, sure, give him the money." He was like, "Yeah, it's fine." And so he goes and he's like, "Yeah, just take the money out of the bank account. Just give him the money, land this flight, and we'll just be done with this."
Well, I mean, I guess planes are obviously worth way more than $200,000.
Probably, yeah. And so he's like, "Yeah, just get this over with." The FBI was like, "Okay," and so they went. And what the FBI did is they withdrew all the money from banks around the Seattle area, and what they were doing is they were going from bank to bank, grabbing all $20 bills that started with the serial number with the letter L, so they could track his $20 bills, and they were taking photographs of each $20 bill they gave. They got 10,000 $20 bills, and they were photographing them. And so they were flying around Seattle, just getting all this done as this flight's coming in to land in Seattle. So they left it.
That's
rotating.
not a long flight.
Yeah, they made it like rotate Seattle a few times while they went and got all the money.
He's like up there, like too drunk on bourbon to know they're flying in circles.
Yeah.
He's like, "How long is this flight taking?" And the lady comes over. She's like, "We're working on your money. Would you like another bourbon?"
She's like, "It's been about 10 minutes."
It's you really. I'm sure the adrenaline's pumping because you're pulling off this heist you've been working
doing
on.
This great job with this
you're
heist. Dan,
you're
you
amazing.
are just killing the heist.
Dan
right
the
now.
man is what the pilots keep calling you. They keep saying, "How's Dan the man doing?" You know, you are awesome. Please don't blow us up.
Dan the man with the plan for the heist.
Dan the man with the plan for this thievery and man.
Dan the man with the plan when we land, going to Mexico.
Back to Portland.
There you go.
Yeah.
There you go.
To spend all this money that the FBI definitely tracks.
And so they land, and they
Give him the money.
lift this briefcase into the aircraft. He counts it all, and he's like, "Okay." He lets all the passengers go, the flight attendants go, and then him and the pilots stay to plan this flight path to to Mexico City, Mexico. And he's like, "Okay, here's where we're going." They get the parachutes, and he's like, "Okay, we're gonna take off. We're gonna leave the staircase down while we fly." And the air traffic control was like, "No, you can't do that. That's not safe." And he's like, "No, it's safe, but we don't have to argue with each other, so we'll put it back."
He was like, "I'm right, but I'll do what you told me to do." That's like a 14-year-old who's like, "Okay, fine. I mean, I'm right, but whatever."
Yeah, it's whatever. It's fine. So they take off.
It's safe, but I've got a bomb. So you guys don't care about safety. Okay.
Okay, whatever.
They're like, "Your bomb's not real, Dan."
Damn, we know the bomb's fake.
Someone else like, "Hey, don't say that to him."
So the pilots were like, "Hey, we're not going to make it to Mexico City. We're going to have a refuel point because this plane doesn't have that much of a range."
Sure.
And so they decided, Dan and the pilots decided, let's stop in Reno, Nevada to refuel in Reno. And so they had that plan.
Yeah.
And then so they take off. When they get in the air, two F-106s start following him. Another jet follows him. At one point, there was 5 different jets tailing this, like escorting it to Mexico City. And why everyone was just like, "Yeah, cool.
Whatever.
We're just gonna do this. This is great."
The FBI, they got the call. They were like, "Wait a minute. There's a guy with a bomb on a plane right now." And they're like, "His name is Dan." Dan. Dan Cooper. Let's escort him. What's he want? 200,000? Minor league. Come on.
And so he. Oh my gosh, this is the funniest thing I've ever seen in my life. I never noticed this. So I read this whole Wikipedia article a few times through because there's so much content in this. Yeah. And I just noticed that the picture of the plane. There's a part of the story I have to tell before I can tell what this plane's doing. So
he was like, "Can you guys make it do loop-de-loops?" Like the plane like upside down and stuff. And they're like, "Air traffic control says it's not safe." "I've got a bomb." "All right, we'll do it."
It's pretty safe. Can you open up the stairs?
Can you open up the stairs?
Yeah, let the stairs out. Let's do some loop-de-loops.
Let those stairs dangle. Yeah, let's let them.
It's perfectly safe, okay, guys?
Yeah. I'm the professional.
So at some point in the flight,
See if you can do a loop. I'll see if I don't spill my bourbon. Oh, close, guys.
At some point in the flight, Dan Cooper just decides, "All right, it's time." Nobody knows exactly when he did this. Homeboy clips off his clip-on tie, drops it in the aisle.
Not gonna need this bad boy.
Opens up the back door of the plane and just jumps out and takes to the parachute.
Oh, I'm glad you added that part. Yeah.
Takes to the parachute, jumps out, clip-on tie free. And he was...
That's like his calling card.
Yeah.
He just left a clip-on tie behind.
None of the other pilots of the 5 planes that were escorting saw him jump. The pilots in the plane aren't sure when he jumped. They just know that he jumped, and nobody's ever found him. They have
Wait, what?
Nobody's ever found him.
Okay, so he just like does this whole thing, and then while being tailed,
jumps from the plane. Nobody sees it. Nobody sees him jump. Because
did they track him the money?
Here's the thing. It was raining. It was night, and so they.
He does in the rain.
Yeah, he did.
Never parachuted before.
As far as we know,
We don't know. He's probably like a.
we're pretty sure he's never done it before because the conditions that night, they said no experienced parachutist, paratrooper. He's not a soldier.
Go ahead. Yeah. Go ahead.
Skydiver. Nobody who's done this before would say, "Hey, this is a good time to do this." Everyone would be like, "This is really sketchy. I'm not going to do it."
He probably died.
Yeah, that's kind of one of the leading theories. So here's the thing.
Yeah.
FBI gets in the plane. They found 66 pieces of evidence that they were like, yeah, we could put all this together, find this guy's fingerprints, track him down, but everything led to dead ends. And so now I want to look at some of the best theories that we have.
Oh, it's a conspiracy one?
Sort of.
Dum, dum, dum. We should have like a
conspiracy soundtrack.
Yeah. So like flip over to me real quick and it'll be like this week on TILLN Conspiracies. And then I'll like get some like dramatic music and some lightning strikes or whatever. It won't be like that. It'll be like more like
That's the legitimate sound we use. You cut my hand out and just put my hand in.
DB Cooper. Mastermind or clip-on tie entrepreneur. I don't know what to call him.
But anyways, so the
oh, here we go. Back to DB Cooper. Mastermind with a clip-on tie. Your hand would come down. You get it.
Yeah, I get it. So the GIF is literally there's a GIF on the site. Of
the GIF?
Of him jumping out of the plane.
It's GIF. I was just messing. There's a GIF of him jumping out of the plane?
Yeah.
I don't see anything.
Wait.
Oh, it takes time? Oh. You ever seen a fish poop before? 'Cause that's what that looks like. Just a little.
I watched this through so many times,
And you
I
never saw that?
saw that actually happen. I just thought that was a picture of the plane on the side.
I know. That's what I was looking at it, and you were like, "Wait a minute." He just.
And it just boop, boop. So anyways, so they started searching for the ransom money. They were like, we planned for this. We planned for him to get away.
Yeah, but if
we
you
could track
don't
down
know
the money.
where he jumped out, then he's got such a big. Because he could have literally jumped out 5 minutes up in the air.
Yeah.
It's like there's no. That was dumb. Like no one waited in the. Like in the cabin with him.
Well, I mean, he demanded that he was in there alone. So there's the pilots in the.
In the what?
In the captain's quarters.
You know, the pilots are up there with their big old map of the sea, you know, and they're 4 degrees west.
Yeah. Okay.
The pilots didn't even have like a what's that guy's name? Smeagol?
Smeagol?
Is that from Peter Pan?
I don't know. No,
Yeah,
it's not.
That's his name, right? Smeagol? Is that what that guy's name is? The don't do this to me. My phone's obviously one of the cameras, so we can't look that up. No, look up the Captain Hook and his sidekick. What's Captain Hook's sidekick's name?
Captain Hooks?
Yes. What?
Frodo.
No, shut up.
Yeah, it's Smee.
Smee. Okay.
Smee. That's so uncreative.
I knew it was like something in that category. So, you know, Captain Hook or Smee, which one are you?
Well, let me ask you this. How scared are you of crocodiles?
Well,
Beat you to the joke.
Put that finger down. Which finger is that? Way to blur that out. Let me ask you this.
Gosh, this is taking like 15 minutes to get your hand to your sleeve.
I gotta do the other one.
Captain Hook has one normal hand. He doesn't have two.
You don't know
hook
that?
hands. Yes, I do know that. I've seen Peter Pan. I knew.
You
his
didn't even
name
know
was Smee.
Smee's name.
I did. I just wasn't listening to you. All right, man. Whenever you're ready.
Let me ask you this, huh?
Yeah. What do you want to ask?
Let me ask you this,
Okay.
huh?
What do you? Yeah.
Yeah, I got a question for you.
What is it?
Yeah, let me ask you
All right.
something,
Let's see.
okay?
Okay.
Let's
There you go.
see
You
how
gotta
many-
button that back.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Button that sleeve. Careful not to let your hands slip out. What you gonna ask me?
You ever heard of DB Cooper? How many hands do you have?
DB stands for don't.
Don't rock the boat. Hold on. I knew that was dumb, but I figured that would get you, so it's okay. What a waste of our whole afternoon. Why do we do this podcast? Continue.
So this happened in 1971, right?
Yep.
Nobody knew.
17 years after 1954.
Exactly. 9 years after 1971. In 1980.
He did it again.
No.
Oh, man.
There was a discovery along the Columbia River of wads of $20 bills that apparently had washed up from the river.
This guy died.
Some kid finded a bunch of these $20 bills.
He
along the river.
finded it from a parachuter.
Yes. So a lot of people were saying, okay, that's where he must have ended up, is somewhere in this valley.
Yeah.
It's called the Washougal Valley in Washington. Because in Washington, if you want
So
to
he
name
jumped out
something,
early.
you start with Washougal. So in the Washougal Valley,
Yeah. That's why my son born up there is Wash Trevor.
exactly.
It's pretty good.
And so the like big theory is that part of the reason why we can't find any further evidence is that in 1980, Mount St. Helens erupted and destroyed any physical evidence remaining of him in that area.
Yeah.
But why they couldn't find him in the 9 years between 71 and 80, I don't know. Probably because they didn't know the cache was there. They didn't know he was there yet.
Yeah. Well, I mean, there's a lot of, there's like a big line that he could have been in.
Yeah. So over the course of the next few years, there was a lot of people that became suspects for being Dan Cooper.
Okay.
I want to go through a couple of them that I think are the most interesting and the most likely. Starting with one, Barbara Dayton. Didn't see that coming, did you?
No. Dan Barbara Cooper.
That's what the Barbara stands for. The DB stands for
No, I got you.
Dayton Barbara. DB.
Okay.
Snap.
Got her.
So
Is Barbara a woman?
So Barbara Dayton was a recreational pilot and a librarian who really, really wanted to be an airline pilot, but because of the
Sexism.
yeah, the rampant sexism of her day,
The rampant sexism.
she couldn't.
But because of the patriarchy, was unable to do that.
and so she couldn't work in
Aviation.
like she wanted to. She did after she served as a merchant marine during World War II.
Okay.
And then after that, she worked in this construction company, and she dealt with the explosives. So she would do a lot of the blowing up of things.
Okay.
They were like, Barbara, we need this to go boom boom, and she'd say,
She goes, "You called Barbara Boom Boom."
I couldn't get it out. It was too funny to me.
Well, she had to to be confused as a man named Dan.
Mm-hmm.
She's got to be pretty she got to be like, well, "You called Barbara Boom Boom."
Yep.
Boom Boom Barbara. She only said like 3 words.
Well, here's the thing about Barbara. Barbara was born Robert Dayton.
Ah, okay, that makes sense.
Yeah, and so Robert Dayton served in World War II as a man, and
As
also
Robert.
when he worked with explosives, he was Robert the man. But in '69, he underwent a gender reassignment surgery and took the name Barbara, and that's when he realized he couldn't get a job as a female pilot.
Okay.
So the motive was that he couldn't get his job as a pilot. He had experience in explosives. He had experience with aviation. And so he said, okay, this is me getting back at the industry. I'm going to make a lot of money, use my skills with bombs, and jump on this plane and be really weird. Probably why he also couldn't use a normal tie, had to do a clip-on tie.
Okay.
And so
Would have been better if he wasn't wearing like a collared shirt. You know, just like a normal T-shirt with a clip-on tie. I'm gonna make that the style. I'm gonna start doing that.
yeah, it's not gonna last.
It's not gonna catch on, but I'm gonna do it. When I was in high school, I wore bolo ties.
Yeah, you did?
Yeah, on Thursdays.
What?
Bolo tie Thursdays.
Why?
Because whatever.
Okay.
We started fanny pack Fridays.
That
Then the
makes
school
sense.
was like, "Hey, we don't trust what you have in those fanny packs."
And you're like,
I was like, "I have a pocket Bible," and they were like, "We trust you, Jaron, because you're 38 years old." All right.
So the reason why Dayton became a suspect is because she came forward and just said all of this. One day she was just like, yeah, by the way, I'm DB Cooper. I did all this to get back at the airline industry since they wouldn't let me have a job.
To who?
I don't know. Like
Someone was
media or
checking out a
something.
book at the library.
She's like, hey, FYI.
She's like, "Hey, did you hear that news story?
No, they're in the library, so she's whispering.
Did you hear that news story?
I'm DB Cooper. Cooper.
Cooper.
That's how she says coupon.
Coupon. Cooper.
Cooper.
I am DB Cooper. The B stands for boom. Stands for darn boom Cooper. Boom boom Barbara.
Everyone was so confused why when you walked into the Portland Public Library, Barbara, you would say, "Hello, Miss Barbara." She'd say, "Please call me Boom Boom."
Call me Boom Boom.
Everyone was
And they were
like,
"Oh, that's weird."
That's a really weird nickname there.
Used to be
Barb.
Boom Boom. Okay, all right. Oh, okay.
Boom Boom Barb.
Boom Boom Barb.
But the
I want to get a shirt that says that on it. Just like a picture of
Boom Boom Barb, and it's like just a 50s, like 1950s looking woman, even though this isn't the 50s.
Yeah, this is almost 18 years after.
So that the FBI never commented on this.
They were
story.
like, they heard her story, and they were like, it's not her.
It's
Nah.
definitely not.
Nah.
That's not it. But she died in 2002. So if it is, I know
Got away with it.
yeah, she got away with it. Another interesting story
But no one ever spent the money that we know of.
that we know of. She
Okay.
claimed that she hid it in a cistern near her house, which was never checked.
She's like, yeah, I did this. The
I did
money's
this.
out
The
there.
money's over this
And they were
cistern over
like,
here.
All
right, whatever, boom,
yeah,
boom.
whatever. We've got
They're like, yeah,
we've got
well,
no other leads.
have fun librarying.
We've had nobody else confess. We've got nothing else to go on. But we don't believe you. So
but you're
why?
garbage.
Why don't we believe you? You're a woman, and it's 1970 something. It is 1980, and you are the patriarchy's alive. So go back to the library, Barb.
So here's another interesting.
Why? Yeah, okay.
Suspect.
Yes, interesting suspect.
Here's
number
another
2.
interesting suspect. His name is Richard Floyd McCoy Jr.
He did it. I don't know anything else about him, but he's a junior, and he's got a name like that. So Richard Floyd McCoy
Yes.
did it.
And so he was an interesting guy because, one, he fit the description, the physical description of DB Cooper pretty well. He looked quite a bit like him.
Wore the same outfit every day.
Yeah, actually.
They're like, you should put a tie on. He's like,
and-
I don't know how to tie a tie. They're like, we got him. We got him. That's him. We got him.
So here's why McCoy became a suspect.
McCoy Jr., but go ahead.
Okay, whatever.
I don't want to put this on his dad.
So this guy, a little bit of background on him.
Yeah.
He was an Army
A
veteran.
little bit of background. His dad's name, Richard. Sorry.
That's all we got. That's all we got.
That's it. That's
Richard
all we
Floyd
had to go.
McCoy.
Okay, so you're telling me, hold on. You're telling me you got somebody who confessed with full detail and told you where they hid the money. And then you've got Richard Floyd McCoy Jr. And you're going to say, oh, the one with the money is credible? Get Richard Floyd McCoy Jr.
McCoy
Lock him up.
RFMJ. We got to get this guy in here.
RFMJ.
I mean, you don't just have a name like RFMJ and be like, that's not DB Cooper. Like,
take him down.
Well, anyway, so he serves 2 tours of duty in Vietnam as an Army veteran. He was a demolition expert in his first tour. The second tour, he served with the Green Berets as a helicopter pilot.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, and then after his military service, he became a warrant officer with the Utah National Guard, an avid skydiver, and he one day wanted to be a Utah State Trooper. Took a break from all of that, went to Brigham Young University, and started some studies on that.
Yeah.
One year on spring break, he goes to Denver, spends some time in Denver, and then boards a plane back from Denver to Utah. Upon getting in the plane, he he sits down in his seat, wearing very similar clothes to what D.B. Cooper was wearing.
Okay.
Passes a note to the flight attendant.
Shut up.
With saying that he has a bomb in his briefcase. Shows her the briefcase. He has a bomb. Demands $500,000 cash. Very, very similar outline of what was going to happen. He was going to get a couple parachutes. They were going to land. He's going to let everyone off. He's going to get a couple parachutes, and they were going to leave.
Wait, what?
Yeah, very, very similar requests. Even had a clip-on tie. I actually don't know that, but if they knew, if he had a clip-on tie, it's case.
What year was this?
1972.
So the next year he's trying
April
to do it
7th,
again?
1972 on spring break. He's on spring break. Yeah. And so...
Did they arrest him?
Well, yeah, this guy got arrested. He went to prison. They caught this guy.
Yeah. So he did the... Well, okay. I guess if it's after, then yeah, never mind. Because he just looks like a copycat at that point.
Yeah, so they arrest this guy. But here's where things start to get a little shaky on this. The officer... who caught him was like, yeah, we got DB. We got DB at the same time. He was like, this is the same exact guy. There are people who say, who think there was an object that was left behind by DB Cooper when he left the plane that has never been released. A lot of people speculate that was a Brigham Young University thing. There's literally no reason to speculate that, but a lot of people do. So I'll do what you will with that.
Yeah.
But here's the biggest issue.
Yeah, if I ever commit a major crime, I'm going to leave a little pin from Evangel University. Just drop that in there.
Throw this in there.
People are like, oh, this person graduated from Evangel, and then that's going to rule me out because I did not.
You didn't graduate. But Evangel says you did.
No, they said I'm an alumni.
Yeah,
different.
Well, it's stupid.
Yeah, we're both alumni, Tim. You did so much more work and effort than I did, but I still got the same title. How's that feel?
Oh, whatever. And so, like, it's really interesting because... he goes to prison. He actually the story of
Gets out of prison.
Yeah, so McCoy
2007 boards a flight. All right, slips a note to the flight attendant, and then the air marshal tased him in the neck. All right, so now he's back in prison.
Yeah.
All right, and it makes sense because I feel like we should automatically arrest anybody with a name that prisony. All right. You know, Richard Floyd McCoy is a pretty prisony name.
Yeah.
So he's now in jail again.
Well, so he got arrested, received a 45-year sentence. 2
Okay.
years later, he escapes from prison.
He escaped,
Yeah.
all right, because he opened the back door of the prison and parachuted out.
Pretty similar. So he actually went out the back door of the prison and snuck into a garbage truck. And then 3 months later, though, he was tracked down by FBI agents in Virginia Beach, where he got into a shootout and was shot and killed by the FBI. And so some people think that they got DB Cooper when they got him. The problem is the FBI has ruled him out because they think that DB Cooper was not a skilled jumper. They're convinced that he was not a skilled jumper.
Because he wouldn't have done it in the rain.
Yeah, he wouldn't have done it in the rain. He wouldn't have done it at night. He wouldn't have done it where they did it. He wouldn't have done it at the altitude, at the speed that they were flying. There was just a lot of things that were like, if this guy was as skilled as Richard McCoy was, he just wouldn't have done it this way. It couldn't be the same person. They said that the jump is what rules him out because his jump was too skilled.
It's too dumb.
Well, Richards was too skilled. DB's was too stupid. They're like, it's not the same guy.
Wait, but did Richard jump out of the plane when he did his bomb?
Yeah,
thing?
yeah.
In 72?
Yeah, he bailed out too. He jumped out.
He made it that far?
Yeah, he jumped out.
They didn't arrest him with the money?
They landed. They let him. They're like, yeah, this happened last year, but we'll let you go. Well, they gave him the money too. They gave him the money. He jumped out. They got him after he landed.
FBI, gosh, they trailed him. They were like, Dan Cooper again? This guy?
This guy?
Like, why are you calling us?
One more time?
Shut up. Give him the money. Like,
oh my gosh.
what? What were they doing in the 70s? What was the FBI?
Get the guy the money, man.
They were just like, yeah. You could probably like get the FBI at their staff Christmas party, walk in the middle of the party, shoot somebody in the face.
Yeah.
And they'd be like, well, we got to investigate this murder. And like they saw you do it.
We can't say that for sure.
What's his name? His name is Bob.
Bob.
His name is
It's Boom Boom.
I was trying to think of 70s names. His name is Bob Wallman.
Yeah.
And they were like, it doesn't sound like a prison-y name.
Yeah.
He could have committed this murder.
Mm-hmm.
Seems too skilled.
Yep. And so here's another on that same topic of skilled paratroopers. Another suspect was Kenneth Christensen.
Yeah, I didn't do it. Just on his name alone, dude. I can tell you. Dude, I make a good cop. You just put a list of names in front of me. I will tell you which one did it.
Okay.
Kenneth Christensen?
Yeah, Kenneth Christensen.
That guy serves at the local nursing home every Saturday morning. He makes apple cider for your grandma Janice. All right? Kenneth is a good man. He's a janitor at the middle school. Shows up faithfully serving those students every week.
Yeah, okay. Well, in 2003, Kenneth became one of the leading suspects.
He did it.
In 2003.
I knew it all along, honestly.
Because a Minnesota resident named Lyle Christensen watched...
Lyle?
Lyle.
Dude, his brother-in-law?
No.
Christensen?
Lyle Christensen watched a TV documentary about the Cooper hijacking and was like, yeah, that's my brother, Kenneth. And called the FBI after watching it. It was like, hey, that was my brother. This DB Cooper's dude, definitely my brother. And so they were like, well, what makes you think that? And he told them, and they're like, probably not. And so then he calls film director Nora Ephron in the hopes that...
yeah, Zach's mom. I know Nora. And then they put all these because she made a documentary about him, right? And then they were like, well, so go with me. So Nora makes the documentary, and then as an effort to advertise her documentary, in 2007, a film with her son came out, and they did songs like "We're soaring, flying." Kenneth Christensen is DB Cooper. Yeah, that's like in the song. And I was always confused. I was like, this is a weird line in the song. Doesn't seem to have anything to do with the storyline. Where does that fit in with Sharpay? Where does that fit in with Ryan? What does that have to do with the love between him and Gabriella? But it makes a lot of sense now. Because Nora Ephron was trying to get Kenneth Christensen put away for this. Dude, go back and listen to it. It's in the sequel too, all right? He's like, bet on it. Kenneth Christensen did that. Yeah, it's in the song, dude.
Okay, so...
Bet on DB.
But here's the thing with Kenneth.
Got it.
So, well, he contacted Nora.
I still don't think he did it.
Nora didn't make a movie about him. Nora was like, I don't want to make this movie. But she calls a PI in New York City to investigate. This detective does the investigation, writes a book. He's like, yeah, this guy totally did it. So he writes a book outlining why he thinks that Kenneth...
Should have given Kenneth the book deal, and he would have written a book called If I Did It.
Well, here's the thing. Kenneth is dead at this point.
Oh, really?
Yeah, Kenneth died in 94.
Because Lyle
I
shot
think.
him? Like, what? Well, I was like, you're not going to do anything about this, Nora?
Lyle was like, we said we were going to split the profits. And you didn't hold up your end of the deal. I leaned over that.
My profits are in the river.
You let it fall. I leaned over that seat. And the day I met you, brother.
Oh, like they're just trying to pretend like they're not siblings the whole flight. Ahoy, stranger. Remember when you jump, X marks the spot.
So here's the thing that's crazy.
Who the second the parachute was for.
Yeah, it was for his brother.
Lyle, who was hiding in the carry-on bag.
Yeah, Lyle is much shorter than his brother.
Yeah, dude.
Yeah, so here's
So Lyle calls in what year is this?
In 2003.
He calls the FBI in 2003?
Yeah, in 2003. He's like, yeah, that was definitely my brother.
Yeah.
And so here's all the evidence that mounts
he
up.
He died 8 years before that. Why not just... Okay. Anyway, go ahead.
So here's the thing. So in 54, Kenneth Christensen got a job for Northwest Airlines, working as a mechanic. So he was traveling all over the Pacific Northwest, where they were based, working on their different planes. He was also a smoker. He was an avid...
What if that's the only thing his brother went on? I heard that this guy smoked cigarettes, and my brother, like everyone else in the 70s, smoked cigarettes. I'm pretty sure that was him.
He smoked. His favorite beverage was bourbon. He was left-handed, which people assume based on some evidence that D.B. Cooper clipped his tongue with his left hand.
What evidence?
I don't know.
Did he have like grease stains on the tie?
I think we're pretty sure he clips his tongue with his left hand.
Yeah.
But no, his brother was
clip-on tie?
left-handed.
That's such a lefty move.
Here's another thing. He actually was in the Army, and he was trained as a paratrooper.
Okay.
And he was about 45.
But the FBI will rule that out. They'll be like, no. If he had known what he was doing.
True. Then it wouldn't have been him. But that was why, what's his face? Lyle really thought that it was his brother. Because he was a paratrooper. He was also 45 at the time of the hijacking, which witnesses
mid-40s.
said probably mid-40s. And then when a photo...
He was like, dude... And he put on those sunglasses? That's such a Kenneth move. Kenneth would always just try to be like, okay. Kenneth would always walk around saying things like, the heist is on. I don't know.
He always said that, and none of us ever understood.
He had it tattooed on his lower back.
Here's a couple kickers though. So those things are like maybe. Here's a couple kickers. When the flight attendant who spoke to DB Cooper was shown a picture of Kenneth Christensen, she said, "Out of everyone I've seen, he looks the most like DB Cooper." But she said, "But I cannot say for sure." But she said he matches the most of what I remember.
Okay.
And then,
but at this point, she's old.
At this point, she is pretty old. It's been
30 years since she's seen somebody.
32 years. Yeah. She's had a lot of people slip her
notes that say, "I
have a bomb."
Yeah, I have a bomb.
Slip her notes. She doesn't read them. They say, "Excuse me, miss, I have a bomb." And then
she read them, and she went, "Oh, it says you're the bomb. Thanks."
Thanks.
And then DB was like, "Ma'am." I think you took that as a compliment, but I need you to read it again. And she's like, "Yeah, you're the bomb, ma'am."
So, and then reportedly, Kenneth Christensen, not Lyle.
Christensen, Kenneth. Go ahead.
Kenneth. A few months after the 71 hijacking, purchased a house with cash. And when he died of cancer in 1994, he told his brother Lyle on his deathbed, as he died, he leaned in and said, "Lyle, there's something you should know." And he said,
"I have a bomb." In the hospital. It's under the bed. If I don't get $200,000,
or I'll die.
Have I told you that I have my last words planned out? Like if I die old, surrounded by my family, I have my last words planned out. Yeah, have I not told you this before?
That's early.
I know, but I mean, like, it's funny.
Yeah.
Like,
what are they?
Well, I want to gather my kids and my grandkids and my wife. You know, I assume she'll outlive me.
Yeah.
And we're gathered around me as I'm dying, and I'm gonna pull my oldest close. I'm gonna say, "Listen." I have like 60 something. I have maybe 20 years to do this without a straight face. I'm gonna die young. I'm gonna say, listen. There's $1.5 million buried in a field. Write this down. Okay. You're gonna get in the car. You're gonna drive 13 miles north on Highway 13. All right. You're gonna take a sharp left. There's not a road, but you'll see a worn pathway. Drive down the pathway, 1.3 miles. Just do this whole, and there's going to be a little road. Get on that road. Drive 27 miles north. Just out to the, and
just
then,
ridiculous.
Oh, this whole long description.
Yeah.
I'm going to say you're going to find a field. In the field, there's a tree. From the tree, takes 27 steps east. And then from that, and then just die.
and then just die.
And then just die.
And be like, well, it's time to die now.
Yeah.
And just like force your death.
And then, yeah, and just close my eyes. Like, not even die. I'll just be like, and then.
Dad, I know you're alive. Your pulse is still going.
Dad. Mom, get him.
He's doing.
Yeah. And they come and shock me with the thing. Because my kids would 100% be the type who would just be like, we got this. They'll grab the defibrillator and be like, and they're like, tell us where the money is, you old sack of crap. Tell us where the money, because my kids will be greedy. My kids are going to suck as people for sure. Like, I'll wake up. I'm like, okay, it's a joke, it's a joke, it's a joke.
I'm not really dead.
That's how I'm going to die, yelling, it's a joke, it's a joke, it's a joke. And then that's how I die.
That's a perfect dad.
I know. It's either that or like when I'm in my 40s, I'm at Cracker Barrel with my family and I choke on a piece of chicken and my wife thinks I'm playing a gag. You know, I'm just sitting there like,
Jaron, stop.
The waitress comes over to help and my wife, he's doing
fine.
his
He's
dumb.
just doing a bit.
All right, Jaron. And then I die in Cracker Barrel. An honorable death.
An honorable death.
Here lies Myers, Jaron.
Might be DB Cooper. We don't know.
Well, you know, the evidence.
He was left-handed.
Yeah. Also was born 23 years after the incident. Seems to make a lot of sense.
Probably the guy. No, but so here's one of the things that
on his deathbed, what did he say to his brother?
Oh yeah,
I cut you off.
He leans in. He's like Lyle. He's like, there's something you should know, but I can't tell you. And then dies.
That is what happened. That is what happened.
Yeah.
That's so good. That's why I want to do that to my family. That's so funny.
Lyle was like, I always wondered what he meant. He's like,
I always liked Kenneth.
He's like, but it's got to be. He did he's DB.
Yeah.
DB Cooper.
Jumps straight to my brother's a criminal. That's what he's got to tell me. Not, hey, there's something I got to tell you.
Yep.
I love you. I've always loved you. It's like something I tell you. I committed this crime.
No, yeah.
Wow.
And so after his death, his family did what families do. They go through his house. They found.
They did the first thing. Didn't even go say hi to him. Didn't visit his grave. Went through his house.
Oh, we got to dig through his house now.
You know, they did what all families do. They sold his belongings. Okay.
I mean, it's what they really do. And so they go through. They found gold coins, a valuable stamp collection. I don't know what that means because stamps aren't worth much. So you got to have a lot.
Some of them are worth like 17 cents.
So a valuable stamp collection. And
can you imagine pirating a plane to buy stamps? Like, DB, why are you doing this? And he's like, well, gotta buy stamps, bro.
Hey, Margaret, this new stamp just got released from the post office, but it's $200,000. Can I buy it?
Hey, Barbara, I'd like to rent this book about stamps.
Please call me Boom Boom. Here's your stamp book.
Boom Boom and Stamp Stamp. You know, it was a duo.
Boom Boom was the flight attendant.
You know, that makes a lot of sense.
It's a full team. It's a full team. And that's why. Okay, anyways. And $200,000 in a bank account.
They found $200,000 in a bank account.
That they didn't know he had. They also found a folder full of Northwest Airlines news clippings from around the time of the hijacking. So he's just got a lot of weird stuff where you're like, this guy did this, you know?
But here's a new plan for my family, all right?
There you go. Let's get more detailed.
Yeah. Is that if I'm this guy, I'm going to find a crime that hasn't been solved, and I'm going to frame myself for it. That way when I die, my family finds all this evidence that they're like, wait a minute, I think, was our dad the Zodiac killer? like, whoa, this, and I can Photoshop news articles. I can do a whole thing. And they're like, wait a minute, what?
Here's what's interesting about this. Kenneth worked for Northwest Airlines before the event.
Yeah.
Worked for them many years after the event. But in 1971, the news clippings stopped. He had been collecting them, keeping them in this folder. In 1971, he stopped collecting them all of a sudden. But he still had the folder. So there's just so much that's like, this guy, pretty sure he did it.
This guy smokes.
He's left-handed, which we're pretty sure DB Cooper is left-handed.
Pretty sure, based on the clip-on tie. Well, I told you earlier, when he wrote with his left hand on the note?
Yeah.
It made sense.
It makes sense.
Is there any more suspects?
Yeah, there's actually one. Well, there's a lot more, but there's one more I want to look at.
Okay.
So the FBI rules him out because, well, they later learned that he didn't pay cash for the house. He had a mortgage. Took him 17 years to pay it off.
He just told his family his cash.
Yeah, because I don't know.
Lyle was like, he paid for that in cash. And they're like, Lyle, no, he didn't.
Yeah, they're like, that didn't happen.
It's not accurate.
And then they actually went back and talking to other eyewitnesses, they said that his physical description was a poor match to him. It was just that flight attendant who thought that he was a really good match. Okay. Everyone else was like, we don't think he matches. Also, he was an expert skydiver, and they really don't think DB Cooper.
They really ruled that out.
They really are pretty positive he's not an expert skydiver.
Yeah.
And so they ruled him out. He's also dead, so they can't put him in prison. So they were like, yeah, it can't be that guy. They want to do is put someone in jail. Here's another one I really like.
Here's one I'm a big fan of.
Dwayne L. Weber.
Oh, no. This guy's a murderer.
Yeah. So in 1945 to 1968, he served in World War II. He was an Army vet.
Okay.
And then from World War II, I almost said World War IV.
World War IV.
From 1944 to 1968, he served time in at least 6 different prisons for crimes such as burglary, forgery, all these different random crimes,
Okay.
But then after 68, he kind of seems like he turns his life around, meets this girl, gets married, and then, again, on his deathbed in 1995.
Yeah. Said, honey, I need to tell you something. And she leaned in, and he's like, can you smell what the Rock is cooking? And then died. Because DB Cooper is also the WWF guy. Is what that joke was.
There you go. And so he leans over to her on his deathbed and says, honey, I need to tell you something. She's like, yeah. And he's like, I am Dan Cooper.
He says it.
He says, I am Dan Cooper. And then dies.
And she's like, who's Dan Cooper?
That's actually exactly right. She has no idea who this guy is. She's like,
okay.
No, you're Dwayne.
You're Dwayne L. Weber, my husband.
Yeah. And so she then, after his death, goes to the local libraries to start doing some research on who Dan Cooper is.
Barb, I have a question.
Hey, Boom Boom. They're good friends.
Hey, Boom Boom. Oh, hey there, Stamp. Sorry, I'm just here trying to figure some stuff out. This all takes place in the same very small town where everybody knows each other.
Yep. And so she does some research on him. She finds a book where she finds this book about DB Cooper.
Yeah. The one that Nora Ephron's friend, the PI guy, wrote.
Actually. No, it's not.
Okay. Well, I mean, no, I don't actually mean that was a real. Okay.
Well, that happened in like
frustrating to get that to me.
2002. This one is 1994.
You're right.
So it's many years later, but it's a different book about the same incident. And she discovers her husband's handwriting in the margins of this book that she checked out. But she said that it was illegible. She couldn't read it. She couldn't read what he was writing. But she's like, that's definitely his handwriting. I'd never been able to figure it out, but that's definitely his handwriting.
What?
And so
it's Well,
what?
That me saying that word was illegible. Like that was.
So and then she started to recall a few things that pointed towards him being actually D.B. Cooper. Well, one, he loved bourbon. He was a chain smoker, left-handed. Loved clip-on ties.
Loved clip-on. Had a clip-on tie collection. A tip-on tie connection.
He had this knee injury that he told her he got from jumping out of an airplane.
Yeah, I got this from jumping out of an airplane, and she was like, "Huh?
Oh, weird." Never pressed anymore on. Well, yeah, tell me about that. No, she's just like, okay.
Sounds like you had an exciting life before you met me.
Yeah. And then there was he used to have nightmares where he would talk in his sleep and talk about what he would say.
In his sleep, he'd be like, "Check the note again. Check, ma'am.
I have bomb. Bomb.
It's real."
She thought he was having an affair because he just kept saying bomb.
He kept saying boom boom, and she was like, boom, freaking bar.
No, but he was saying things like in his sleep. He was saying things like he was worried that he left fingerprints on the plane. He's like, I left fingerprints on the plane.
Dude,
I left fingerprints on the plane. Like having these nightmares. Saying
if my
stuff like
wife said anything like, I left my fingerprints there, I would call the FBI the next morning. Like, no, probably right then. I think the FBI would show up, and like I would be like, okay, well, let's wait till she wakes up.
Yeah, I heard you can't wake them up.
Yeah, I heard that's really bad,
Yeah.
especially.
I heard it's really rude.
Yeah, and she's crazy in the morning, so let's let her get up. I don't know. I'm the only one in this room not married now, so. Alex got married this weekend.
Yeah, he did. He did.
He's over there like...
Who's Alex?
He's some person.
It's the ethereal being that leads our podcast.
Yeah, we just talk on these Alex actually is in this microphone.
Alex is in the microphone. If it weren't for Alex, none of this would be possible.
His
Thank you,
wife
Alex.
is in that one, and it's like they are...
That's how they met. They got connected.
That's how they met was on our set. Like it was just a miracle that I bought these two microphones.
Anyway,
beautiful. Does your wife talk about fingerprints? Well, you've only been married for like 4 days, so give it some time, bro. If she says something, you got trouble.
And then in another odd circumstance, in 1979, they took a vacation to the valley outside of Seattle near the Columbia River, where one day Dwayne was like, I got to take a walk. And he walks along the river out to the Tina Bar area, which was where the money was discovered, and was gone for hours and then came back.
Okay.
And so Dwayne has a lot of things that are like, it's kind of fishy, Dwayne. It's a little... Not to mention the part where he said, I'm Dan Cooper.
Okay, but we also have a confession from Barb.
True.
You know?
True.
And we've also got a guy named Richard Floyd McCoy Jr. So there's a lot to weigh in
here.
Kenneth is
also left-handed.
Yeah, Christian comma Kenneth is not the guy.
Ruled out. But here's the thing. The FBI... eliminated Weber as a suspect in July of 1998 because they said his fingerprints didn't match any fingerprints that they found on the plane. They also had no other direct evidence other than the hearsay of his wife.
But they have fingerprints?
They did. Yeah.
And they couldn't trace any of the other suspects.
I know. Isn't that what's crazy?
Okay, but here's what this is an inside job. Okay, because FBI is just like, give them the money, let's go.
Give them money, we're out. But they did it to the other guy that they killed later.
Yeah.
And why would they do it twice.
Richard?
If it was, yeah.
Richard. No. Which one died? Yeah, Richard
Yeah,
Floyd
it was,
McCoy
yeah,
Jr.
Richard Floyd McCoy. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
Yeah, and they got him. I think that was just common practice at the time. Was just give him the money. We'll sort it out later.
Sure. We'll mark it off as an expense on our taxes. It looks like you guys spent $1.7 million this year. Yeah, those are hostage situations. Like, did you guys catch the people? No, we just gave them the money.
We just give them money.
Yeah, that's how
That's how hostage
Part of
situations
the-
work. You just give them money,
all the people are alive.
and they might
so-
let the hostages go. So
Yeah. We only had one guy kill all the hostages and
So
take
we
the money too. So
I mean, that's a pretty good success rate.
I mean, honestly, we were selling. We bought cake.
I mean, we were 2 for 3, so
Yeah,
like,
2 for
it's
3.
good odds. So I mean, and you know, I mean, one of them got away, so I guess we were 1 for
Yeah,
3.
we were-
but the hostages survived twice.
But we've got like a long list of 9 suspects. So I'm sure we're never going to narrow this down.
And then they later did some DNA tests on the Cooper's tie, and it didn't match Dwayne's DNA either.
Okay.
And so they're like, this can't be him. The Bureau also later was like, yeah, we can't be positive that the DNA on the tie was DB Cooper's either.
Because it's just a clip-on tie.
You know how many children mess around with clip-on ties in the store? You don't know who's gonna do that.
So there's just really no idea. All of these sound like they could be.
Yeah. And there's a lot more that I haven't gone to that pretty much all of the suspects are like, yeah, that sounds likely, but the FBI has ruled them out for various reasons. And in 2016, they officially said, okay, we're closing active.
It's closed.
Yeah, active search on it. If something comes up, they can open it. It's not like completely case closed.
Yeah.
But they're not actively searching anymore like they were, which is pretty crazy. It's the only time that hijacking happened and it hasn't been solved. In fact, it's one of the. I think they said in something I read that it's the only heist in the nation of the United Nations.
It's the only heist in the Americas. It's the only heist that the person got away with it?
Yeah, and we never solved.
Really?
That's like currently still open.
I don't know, dude. I saw like Ocean's 12. They got away with that, right?
No. They didn't.
Oh. Maybe I didn't
crazy?
see Ocean's 12.
Maybe I didn't see it. Isn't that crazy though?
Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, a lot of a lot of books have been written, a lot of documentaries have happened, a lot of movies and TV shows have kind of nodded to DB Cooper.
We'd be like,
DB. He's like their producer now.
yeah. Yeah.
And he's like, hey, you have to acknowledge me in this.
Right.
Or I'm going to throw you out of a plane. But here's the thing. For all we know, this guy could still be walking around super rich somewhere. Probably dead, but
Yeah.
most likely dead.
Or
I'm ready to hear this.
Or he's slamming people through tables on Monday Night Raw right in front of our eyes. He took the $200,000, started a wrestling federation, okay? At the time, all right, now you got to think about earlier before
Federation
WWF,
was an
okay?
acceptable word.
Yeah, that's why they changed it. So, so before it was like wrestling, the Pacific Wrestling team or whatever. And then he brought them all together.
Yeah.
And they were like,
Worldwide.
McMahon, where'd you get this money from? And like that's why he walks weird.
Yeah,
he
fell out of a plane.
landed with no parachute, just straight up jumped out of the plane,
Landed in this river.
on a table, all right, and then was like,
He's like,
wait a minute,
this could work.
what if? Can I replicate that? Can we wear tight underwear?
He's like, I got a lot of money now. He's like, a little bit of it floated away, but I've got enough. I might be able to start this. When did the WWF start?
Dude, if it's 1972, I'm gonna lose my mind. It's not. It's like 1991.
Here we go. It's not the World Wildlife Fund. I gotta change that to the E just for the sake of this. We all know it's actually.
We know it's WWF.
WWF. Okay, hold on. Here we go. Wikipedia.
What year is it?
I'm a little confused.
Okay.
Because there's 2 years here as the founding.
Sure.
It was founded in 1952 as Capital Wrestling Corp.
Okay.
And then refounded in 1980. Right after Dwayne Weber went up the river to where he left it.
Yeah.
But, I mean, Dwayne isn't that guy.
So
Dwayne funded it.
it's World Wrestling. The F stands for fiddle off, right?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it does. No, you go first.
Okay.
Hey, thanks for...
I knew you were going to do it. Thanks for watching Things I Learned Last Night. If you like this, please subscribe to the channel or check out some of our other videos. I did finger guns at the end. Freaking...